Hi guys, I'm Danny, and I started a Sunday gym because I've noticed lately that people tend to go to colleges and universities without actually knowing why they're there. And afterwards, starting jobs that are unfulfilling. So I'm interviewing different professionals to see what they have to say and share their knowledge and experience with you. I hope you enjoy it. Today,
Hi, Danny. I'm doing great. How about you?
can't complain right well. The program will be focused on three main questions. What do you do for a living? How did you get there? How did you know this was the way to go? So tell us what you do for a living, please.
I'm working as a service desk agent, basically supporting internal customers of a big corporation, helping with IT issues, helping dispatch tickets. So yeah, that's basically my day to day. I take calls, I help people, I support them.
That's pretty good. I actually worked in a couple of service desks, and honestly, one of my best memories were from there. Although, in all fairness, my career started in the government sector, and there's no way one can have pleasant memories from there. So when I went to the customer service, the level was pretty low. So I really don't know if it was that good or just still had been fresh from the government. But it's really a nice thing because one of the things I've noticed over there is because like everything kind of like is the same and it's the same and it's the same. And when you turn around at the end of the month, there've been a lot of changes because that's incredibly dynamic sector. A lot of things
Yeah.
are changing, but they're like smaller things, and it's totally like a snowball effect. So yeah, this process will be slightly older, but one process is linked to another, to another, to another, and by the end of the month, by the end of the quarter or something, you've actually went through a lot, and this was one of my favorite things about that sector. I'm pretty sure it's like that. It's still like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mostly the same. It's pretty boring if you look from it from that perspective because it's a constant repetition of issues, and yeah, it can wear you down if the
Yeah,
turnover is too high.
every job can wear you down.
Yeah, true, but this one especially. But on the positive side, once you clock out, that's it. It's game over. It's you and your free time. There are no
Yeah,
projects to worry about. So that's why I'm still keeping at it.
no argument there. And how'd you get there? Were you like walking on the street one day and you're like, let me go to a call center?
I it's a fun story. I actually
I
came
assume so.
yeah, I came just before the corona wave. I was traveling in Peru. I was looking for myself. I was actually 1 year without a job before that. I
Nice.
quit my Frankfurt job, went back to my family and spent the whole year doing my side projects. So at the end of that whole cycle, I found myself in Peru. I was traveling around, exploring, looking for something, or just taking in the beautiful place that it is. And it struck me, okay, maybe I should try my home country. You know, I speak the language, I speak two more languages, I have some background. Maybe I can make something happen here. So I came here and everything closed behind me.
Not to
The
mention the
corona.
taxes are lower. We
Yeah,
shouldn't ignore that.
that's a big plus as well. The
Yeah.
tax incentive is very high, but the business environment is crap. So yeah, it's a give
I remember
give
when
and
I
take.
got back home from Denmark, and they're like, "Oh, so you love the place?" I'm like, yeah, that's it. There, yeah. Low
Yeah,
taxes got nothing to do with it. Good lord.
good lord. Yeah, that's just the beginning. But yeah, once the corona wave hit, a lot of the job opportunities vanished, and I was just left with service desk jobs. So I was a bit deflated. I thought, okay, whatever, it's just for a while. I took a job and I was 100% home office. So what did I do? I bought myself a very old car and I started traveling the country. And everyone
Nice.
else was still locked at home, and I was at the beach and with my laptop there. So I liked it. I liked it very much.
What's not to
And
like?
I'm yeah.
Come on
And
now.
after a while, I saw other people as well. They were on the beach with their laptops doing the same like me. I worked from my tent, I worked from my car, I worked from coffee places, I worked from hotels. So yeah, as long as the company is happy, customers are happy, nobody bothered me. So yeah, the past 3 years I've been doing exactly that. After Corona time went away, I've also traveled around in Europe a bit. So yeah, the nomad life is pretty good.
It is a pretty good life. Not to mention that once you get the hold of it, I'm talking to folk from all over, right? Actually, from what they're telling me, because I don't know much, but from what they're telling me, that's actually the future. Because well, it's cheaper for a company not to have you in the office.
True.
So, because I understand it. All right, so coffee, stuff, tea, and everything. It's not a lot, but keep in mind, usually those are big companies. They're like hundreds of people over there. The place I work at currently, we're like 1,400 people or something like that. So it's cheaper if they're not in the building.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you. I work from home as well. I don't know about you, but I actually do a lot more when I'm in home and not that much when I'm in the office. Because you know
True.
how it is in the office. They're like, oh, friends and colleagues, let's get down there, let's have a coffee break or something. It's not like that in the office. It's not like that in home.
No, it's not the same. I worked for Tata Communications, so we used to be 13,000 strong across the globe.
Nice.
And in Frankfurt, we were at the 15th floor of a building right in the center. So it was awesome getting there every day, but after a while, it just gets old. I mean, the talk about coffee and weather or politics can just go as long, So at some point, you realize you're wasting your time. And I'm looking at my colleagues, and they had cars. I had no car. I lived in the center, so I just walked to the office. They had to travel 1.5 hours, evening and morning. So it's like 2 or 3 hours. You're just sitting in the car in that box, and you're doing nothing. You're just staring at the traffic. So why all this lost time? Why all this lost production? It's crazy. I really hated it. So part of the reason why I left. So yeah, once Corona hit, everybody sat on their butts and they figured out that things can work differently as well. I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, in all fairness, the whole concrete jungle is something that can literally kill you. Like, not me, because I actually love that lifestyle. It's perfect for me. So it suits me perfectly.
But it can work with bicycles, not with cars.
Yeah,
it's good for the environment.
Like I'm a type of guy that my life almost didn't change at all during COVID. Like I'm that guy. So, for good or I don't even want to talk about if it's good or bad. It's just what it is, Now, the third question is a little bit bumpy, and it's gonna be interesting because I'm pretty sure you're a well-traveled man, you've seen this and that. The third question is, how'd you knew that this was the way to go? I'm asking it because I'm sure you've noticed it. A lot of people are going to universities and to colleges. Sorry about that. They're going to universities and to colleges. They start something just because for that stigma that you have to have a diploma, right? To be fine in the future, which is no longer the case. That hasn't been the case for more than a decade now, but they still do. And after they're there, after they're done, they start jobs that definitely aren't for them. That's not fulfilling for them. That's not for them. It will never be for them. And they're miserable. Now, I'm okay when people lose money because I lost money at some point. I'm sure you've lost some too, here and there. I don't know. But the problem is that they're losing time, right? So now we have 25, 26-year-old people, young men and women, who really shouldn't be like that because they just start something that isn't for them. And they don't know themselves. So that's why I'm always asking, how did you knew that this was the way to go? And what was that about you?
At the last part of your question was actually the key to the answer. You said, you just have to find yourself first and then find the job or the position. So there is probably, I'm a very good person to talk about this with. I mean, because I have left my path many times, my career path, and I'm like a career terrorist, right? I started one thing, then I hated it, then I switched to something else, then I hated that one as well, and now I'm putting up with something because I have found myself or what I want and what is the direction that I want. So the job or the career are not that important to me. It's a means to an end, and that's the key. I started studying international business in Berlin, and there I went from marketing to economics to finance to accounting. Those were the core components, right? And I became slowly disillusioned with the whole thing. I was like, wait a minute, like there's something missing. This doesn't make any sense to me. There's something wrong here. So I graduated. I went to agricultural economics, master's degree. Although I was more into direction like natural resource management or environmental issues. That's what I wanted to actually get into. And already in the first semester, I became so disillusioned that I had to quit. And the reason why is because I have found nobody there interested in answering the questions of environment, destruction of environment, petrol, gas, whatever, all those hot topics that are now here, like the climate
Well, in
change,
all
bringing
fairness,
them.
they're hot topics on the news, but in reality, I
Yeah,
guarantee you, nobody's going to even answer questions about it for
true,
two main
but
reasons. First of all, it's not profitable to answer those questions, and that's a
true.
pretty good reason. And second of all, if you start answering, you will find a lot of uncomfortable things about that. So
Yep,
those are two solid reasons. I guarantee you, I absolutely guarantee you, nobody will answer those questions.
true. And that's why I became so disillusioned. I asked those questions to my professors, and they could not answer. They didn't want to. If it gets political or gets something,
Yeah,
you know,
they didn't
they
want to.
avoid.
A
Yes.
lot of it's not that difficult to answer those
Back
questions.
back then, all this information about temperature rise, about sea level rise, about all the environmental issues, they were usually into the scientific circles. It didn't enter the mass media. But nowadays, when I open CNN or BBC or any of those leading news outlets,
It
it's there.
doesn't
It's
even
front
make
page.
it doesn't even
Um,
make sense to be on the front page because
no,
let's say like people. I'm not even going to name names because I don't have to. We all know who they are, and they're like the sea level is rising. Sunshine, you just bought a beach house on the
yeah,
beach. Like, did you bought it so that you can warn me when the sea level is rising? You can be on the front line. You can give me a call. Hey, Danny, the sea level is rising, man. So, okay, hey, thanks, man. Good thing you
that's a
bought the
good job.
beach house. All right, I'll
Yeah,
let you. That's just that it doesn't. That's not even funny.
exactly. It's not even funny. So I gave up on trying to fight in that direction. So I focused on cleaning up my house. Like
Very
I've
good.
spent the last 3 years in the village. I've been repairing that old house. I've been repairing old cars with which I drive because without a car I cannot survive in the village. But believe me, I would swap that and a petrol engine with an electric engine as soon as I can. I've planted some trees. I've taken care of my trees in my garden. I've bought some land and I would like to buy also some forest and plant some trees there. So I do everything according to my own plan, and I hope more people join in that direction. But yeah, I'm not so worried about others anymore
Yeah,
as I
you
used to
shouldn't
be.
be.
So yeah, many young people are disillusioned. You're right. The career paths are full of contradictions. For some it works, you know, but for others it doesn't. And the most important thing I would suggest people look into is finding themselves first. So a tool for this is traveling. I have found myself while I was traveling, backpacking. It has a lot of value for young people, for older people, doesn't matter. It's just the freedom of view, the road, and no limitations is it's an amazing tool of developing oneself and finding that inner core that can drive you through.
I
So
agree 100%. And I also want to pick your brain on something. I'm sure
go ahead.
you've noticed that too. A lot of times, a lot of times, there is this ego element. Like, I already graduated something, and I'm already
Yep.
in the office. Now I can't quit because people are gonna look down on me. I'm sure you've noticed it.
Yep.
And that's crazy
It's
because people are messed up in general. People are gonna look down on you anyways. You can be the president of whatever. People still gonna look down on you. It's
yeah.
just how things work. But if you remove this ego element, your life will be way easier, like much easier.
Yeah. And the way to do this is by going out in the world and learning that you're not the only one that's looking for an answer, or learning that no matter how many degrees you collect or how much money you have in the bank or how many assets you've collected. You still remain you, and at the end of the day, you're not taking any of those away. I mean, you're taking away experiences like with closed ones or with fun with friends or the
Yep.
things you've done that have made sense, really sense. Because if you do something that doesn't make sense to you internally, then of course it's a big problem. It leads to a crash after a couple of years.
Not only
So
that, after those couple of years, let's say you get married, you have children. If you're a
yeah,
miserable person, you're bringing this misery back home. You can't just
yeah,
leave it at the job because it doesn't work like that.
it's a very good yeah. You're giving it to your kids, and that's not good. Yes, you're right. I hope more people follow that path before they do those things like family or career paths. I started quite late. I mean, I'm 34 now. I started when I was 28, 29. But this is something for people in their early 20s. I mean, once they have a good orientation, they can really leap forward at a faster speed. But yeah,
100%. I was blessed in that department because I was like 16 when I knew what I was going to do. And I've
that's
been doing
great.
it my whole life now.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. You came back. When did you came back from Denmark to Bulgaria?
Oh, I don't know. 10, 12 years, something.
Oh,
I'm not sure. Between
you're
10
a
and
really
12 years
early
ago.
bird then.
Oh yeah, at the age of 17, I was already in my first year of bachelor degree, and
Yeah,
I graduated. I think I was 19 or 20 when I got
yeah.
my bachelor degree, and
Wow, great.
21 or 22 when I got my master's degree.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's really quick, Danny.
I've always been in a career. I've never had a real graduation ceremony because when I
Oh,
graduated high school, I was in a hurry to go to the college and I couldn't make it because there were documents to prepare. So I
yeah,
never had a high school graduation
graduation.
ceremony. And when I graduated college, I was again in a hurry to travel to Denmark and everything. So I
Yeah,
didn't have time for the ceremony. And when I graduated in Denmark, I actually found internship here back home. So I
yeah,
was in a hurry to go start the internship, so I didn't get the ceremony there. So I'll be starting a PhD this year,
yeah.
and
Oh,
honestly, at this point, I'm probably going to do it only for the ceremony.
of course. I'm holding my thumbs up. This time, find the time for this because it seems it's an important thing for you. You have to enjoy
Honestly,
it.
it isn't, but I mean, I graduated so many things and never got one. I mean, at some point, you just gotta ask yourself.
A PhD is quite the top of the line, so you should celebrate that one at least.
We'll see
I
how it goes.
I asked you.
Honestly, I can't promise anything because judging by my record so far, I really don't want to promise anything.
Yeah, well, I asked you because you're obviously an early bird. I mean, and you're part of another wave of people who are coming back to Bulgaria. But I've been traveling around this summer, and not only this summer, I've been traveling around this past 3 years in Bulgaria. I've probably done like 25,000 kilometers just on vacation time. I don't travel for work. So, and I meet so many young people, or young relatively, yes,
Yeah,
say
let's say
my
our
age
age
or
because we're not that young
yeah.
anymore.
Well, yeah,
It is what it
middle-aged
is,
people.
man. I don't make
It
the
is
rules.
what it is. Yes, time ticks. So yeah, though those people have come back same time like me, 2020, 2021, and they have established themselves here. And I'm like, guys, like, what made you do this step? And they were like, none of them mentioned Corona or financial difficulties or whatever. All of them were like very motivated, very enthusiastic. They were working for something. A guy came back from America. He had a successful business there. Now he's in a village in Bulgaria. He's fighting to create something beautiful there. So yeah, it's like I feel at the moment a part of a wave of people who are finding themselves or looking for themselves or looking for their identity in Bulgaria, and that's a beautiful thing. But you are part of an earlier wave. I
I
didn't know
am.
that such a wave existed. So
Well, I think there were like 9 or 8 of us when we graduated in the
wow,
university, and only one of us uh,
yeah,
stayed there. Like all of us got back immediately. I got back like a semester early because my
Yeah.
final semester was my internship. But
Yeah.
all of us, once they graduate, they all got back home.
Yeah.
And in all fairness, if you have the mentality and the skill set to, I'm not saying graduating is something special, right? It's not. It isn't.
Not really.
Like,
It's
I
just
was,
a moment of time.
yeah,
time, yeah.
and in all fairness, I was drunk like 30% of the time. So, I'm
Correct.
not, it's not that special because it just isn't. But the fact that you have the discipline to do it, and especially in a foreign place, you don't know much about
Yeah.
it. Like I assume you know German. I don't speak a lick of Danish. I don't even understand Danish.
I was in a similar situation to you. I had the opportunity to learn German, but I refused to properly. So I do speak German, but my level is not office level German. Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I work with it as well all the time. It was never an interesting language to me, so I always refused to study.
No,
But
Danish is like a German, but with hot potato in your mouth.
yeah, I've heard
So,
it. It's a
and
really
it
nice
wasn't.
language, but difficult.
Yeah, it wasn't the difficulty. It wasn't the language. It wasn't the people. It was me. Like the
Yeah.
problem was 100% me. It just wasn't my place, and it took me 2 weeks to figure out that I'm not going to stay over there. And I even told I was young when I was that 19 or 20, something like that. I don't remember anymore. And I told my parents I'm not staying here, and because they know me, I really don't care about what other people think about me. I'm not some
Yeah.
douchebag, that runs around and messes people up. I just.
But you have your own thing and you focus on it. You're pretty good
Exactly.
at doing. Yeah, that's good.
So
That's awesome. But you're touching here on a very interesting social situation where people go abroad to study, and the question then is, are they able to adjust to the new place and get acclimatized to the social structure there? Are they going to be successful later in finding a job there and really integrating in the society, or are they always going to remain somehow looking for something that's not there? And I have to tell you, 95% of the people I know in Germany that I studied with or worked with, Bulgarians, they're not integrated, man.
I know.
They
And
always
it's not.
remain with ties towards here. They always have this good feeling or this need to return here from time to time and see relatives or see the country. Or
I never had this inner urge to see the relatives. I'm not close to my family.
Yeah.
I don't care about nature at all. I don't go. So
There's
it
roles for
wasn't
this as
that.
well.
I just knew that I would be able to accomplish here a lot of things. Like right now, I own property. I own a few apartments right now. I would have never been able to do this in Denmark. Well, let's not say never, but I assume it would have been way more difficult.
Yeah.
Because like I worked for like 7 years here, different office jobs, and there wasn't a bank that wouldn't give me a loan. Like everybody would give me a loan, and that was going to be the case when I was in Denmark. I assume from what I saw and saw.
True. Here it's like 66 people per square kilometers, whereas in Germany it was 240, 30, 40.
Yeah.
I don't know. So it's difficult. Oh, Danny, I have to plug my laptop because the battery is drained.
Right on. Well,
can we pause for a sec?
Covered actually most of the topics.
Okay.
So really, I want to thank you for being with me, and
it's been great talking to you.
Right on.
Right on, Danny.
Video and notify you about it.
Thank you.
Bye. Guys, I hope this one was useful. Please follow the channel on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, Gap, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Ring the bell and all the good stuff. Have a nice week ahead, and I'll see you next Sunday.